Dunkirk is the latest film from the critically acclaimed director Christopher Nolan. It focuses on the self-titled evacuation of 300,000 soldiers from the beaches of France across the British Channel to the UK for refuge. It's one of the largest scale evacuations in history, and it's gone down as one of the most influential moments in World War II. I was very much looking forward to this movie, as I am a bit of a history geek, and World War II is one of my favourite eras of history to go back and look at and study. So I was very interested in that, and also because war is a genre that Christopher Nolan has not really tackled in his films beforehand. The only other film to this date that he's made that I can remember dabbling with influences of war was probably The Dark Knight Rises, but that whole film wasn't essentially a war movie. It was really only the last act where there was a war happening. So this is his first real attempt at a true war film, and I was very interested to see what he would do with it, especially as he was talking a lot before the film's launch about how he wanted to make the movie about the event and not about the characters. And I can safely say that Dunkirk is easily one of the best war movies of modern cinema. Definitely from what I've seen within the last few years. It is a truly incredible movie that you need to watch in the cinema. It will blow you away from how good this movie is. Because when I left the cinema, it was a riveting experience, and it's certainly one that I won't forget for quite some time. The positives for this movie, there are so many positives with this film. I think I need to start off with the obvious, and that is the direction and the cinematography and the lighting. It is truly amazing. This is one of the best shot films I have seen in my lifetime. It is unreal how much practicality was in this movie, and as a result, it added to the realism that Nolan was going for. The whole film felt so real. You felt like you were in that situation. The sound design as well, need to mention, is impeccable as well. When I was in that cinema, it felt like I was there. It felt like I could feel the gunshots going past me because the sound was so fantastic. Like in other war movies, say for example Saving Private Ryan, you don't really get that immersive experience all the time while you're in there. Like you feel like you're in threat even though you're not. It's like that full sense of insecurity. And that's what this movie gives you, and it's such a phenomenal thing for a film like this to achieve. Like I said, the practical effects in this movie amazing. It really amazed me how much practicality was in this, and even when they did use CGI, it was so rare but and not so overblown that it didn't stray away from the sense of realism that the film goes for. The score as well by Hans Zimmer is amazing. I really loved how he incorporated the ticking clock because it really fitted with what was going on in the film, and it really helped create the tension that the film goes for. Like this movie is very, 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 disturbing on a psychological level because some of the cinematography of it, you feel for these soldiers, you feel like you're in this situation with them, and you feel their terror and their anxiety as to whether they will actually make it across the channel to the UK, and it's very, very tense and very, very well done. I was very interested by it. A big criticism that critics have tried to throw at this movie is that they weren't happy with the fact that there was very little dialogue in the film, and also the fact that the characters were quote unquote undeveloped. I personally can understand why they would say this, but for me, I don't really see it as a problem because in an event like this, you would never have the opportunity to do something like, say, for example, that happens pretty much all the time in Saving Private Ryan, which is where we have a group of characters, they bond, we learn more about them, and we learn who they are and what they stand for. We don't get that in this movie, but the reason for that is because in an event like this, in a movie like this, you can't have that. And I remember as well because my dad on my mum's side, she told me about how he was actually on the beaches of Normandy. He fought in Dunkirk. He was at Dunkirk in 1940, and he said that during that time, nobody had like conversations about this stuff. And from what he said everybody on that beach was silent because they knew that they had to wait either to be saved or to be killed or taken prisoner by German forces. There was no talking. He said it was so silent that you could hear a pin drop. And this movie captured that so well, and it felt so realistic. And plus, you get a sense of the character's personality. You see it through their actions, how they react to things, whether they're scared or whether they're trying to be brave or anything like that. You get it through their actions. And sometimes I feel like in movies and TV, actions speak louder than words. And I think this is a movie where that is most certainly the case with the characters that they present here. And I thought all the actors in the film were amazing. They were very good. I wouldn't really say that there was like a massive standout actor for me, but I still loved everyone on the film. They were all fantastic, and I thought they gave really good performances. I'd probably say the standout one would probably be Tom Hardy for me personally. I was quite surprised as well by how good Harry Styles was in the film. He was like the one thing about this movie that I was very, very skeptical about, but no, he actually did surprise me. He was quite good, and he was given quite a lot of emotional scenes as well, which he did surprise me with, how well he was capable of acting during those scenes. If there was one slight problem I could have with the film, it would be that I wish that there was more of an intent to make a big main character in the film. Like a guy that we see, through this perspective of, more specifically on the land areas, because, of course, in the sky, you have Tom Hardy's character. In the sea, you have pretty much two characters. You have the commander of the fleet and ships that are going after the soldiers, and you have a fisherman played by Mark Rylance who's also going after the soldiers as well. But on the land part, I didn't really feel like there was a big enough presence of a main character who we see the events through their eyes. And I wish we did have that. I know they tried to establish one, but I just didn't feel like we spent enough screen time with him compared to the other ones, and I did wish that we did just spend a bit more with him, because then it would have allowed me to feel a bit more emotionally involved with his character throughout the events of the film. But other than that, I really don't have any other problems with Dunkirk. I thought it was a very, very well presented movie. I think it's easily one of the best films to release this year. I would say it's slightly below Baby Driver and Get Out. Those for me are still the two best films of this year. But it's definitely very close, and I think it's definitely a must-see movie. If you don't know what film to watch this summer, I would easily say that Dunkirk should be one of your highest priorities to watch. I'm going to give Dunkirk a 9.5 out of 10. I think it's probably one of Christopher Nolan's midsection movies. I don't think it's like a 10 out of 10 masterpiece movie that he's made, such as films like The Prestige or Inception or The Dark Knight. But I do definitely think that this is a must-watch movie. Whether you are a Christopher Nolan fan, a war movie fan, or just a film fan in general, you need to watch this film. So guys, let me know in the comment section down below, if you have watched Dunkirk, what did you think of the movie, and how would you rank Christopher Nolan's films? I know that's quite a divisive subject to talk about, but I'd be interested to hear what your opinions are on his films in the comment section down below. And with that being said, I'd like to thank you all very much for watching the video, and I hope to see you again next time.